Hello, my name is Kirsten Pope, and I'm going to be going over the financial recovery of Barnes & Noble along with my teammates Hong and Jesse. I'm going to start off giving you a brief overview of what will be contained in this presentation. So first off, we have what is Barnes & Noble? Barnes & Noble Inc. is one of the largest booksellers in the United States. They operate at over 600 storefronts during a good year. Unfortunately, Barnes & Noble's faced some financial losses in the year 2018 due to higher costs and lower revenues. To understand what caused them to bring in lower revenues during this year, we have to take a look at the e-commerce business. So in the e-commerce business, it's one of those things where you really, to be successful, something really important is getting there first, just like any business or anything on the internet. Barnes & Noble unfortunately failed to do that. They didn't really enter the e-commerce business until they began to beat out by other companies that had entered the e-commerce business earlier. So they started adding ebooks and they developed the Nook after they began to see lower revenues due to not entering the e-commerce business. Now, if we take a closer look at the Nook was Barnes & Noble's attempt at entering the e-reader business to compete with things like the Amazon's Kindle. There were some problems with the Nook and its use and versatility that made it not in very high demand, because there are cheaper products that do similar things and more. Another issue that has impacted Barnes & Noble's financial standing has been their struggle to find a CEO who can properly run their company. Over the past few years, they've gone through 5 different CEOs, most notably Demos Pineros, who really did some things that set the company back a lot, and we'll go into more detail about him later on. The next issue that we found with Barnes & Noble's structure is the layout of their stores. Inside their stores, at least at the time in 2018, they still have sections dedicated to outdated technology that's really a waste of space. Nobody goes into Barnes & Noble's anymore to buy DVDs and CDs, and there are a lot of better things they can do with that space, and we'll go over what they should do with that space and why. And lastly, we're going to go over some solutions that we will offer to Barnes & Noble's to fix all of the problems that we analyze in this presentation. So we believe that they need to focus more on their current strengths, most of all, the things that already bring people into Barnes & Noble's. They need to accentuate those things in their business plan and exploit them to gain more revenue. And they need to improve their customer experience online and in store to bring more people in. They need a more flexible business strategy, and they need to eliminate the Nook. So next up, I'm going to explain the purpose of this presentation, as well as what we did to come to the conclusions that we did. The purpose of this presentation is to identify the underlying causes of Barnes & Noble's financial struggles in 2018. We find these underlying purposes, we identify them by analyzing these different things: their management, their projects, their store layout, and their operating decisions. Then we will go over some recommendations for Barnes & Noble's consideration to improve on all of the issues that they've had with their company and their revenue. Lastly, I'm going to give you a brief financial overview so you know what's going on throughout this presentation, what the effects of all of this have been on Barnes & Noble's income. So from 2006 to 2017, they actually did make a profit at Barnes & Noble's. They made a profit of about 3 to 6% in each of these fiscal years. And in 2017, they reported profits of $22 million. However, in 2018, they reported a loss of $125.5 million, or 6.9%. Now, it is worth noting that in 2018, Barnes & Noble's incurred some unusual one-time charges, things such as severance costs, that they don't normally have in other years, but these one-time charges amounted to $167 million. You might think, well, that's probably where their loss is coming from in this year. But despite these unusual charges, their earnings before interest and taxes, excluding these charges, was still down $40 million as compared to 2017. Okay, so now that I've given you some general background information, I'm going to hand it off to Hong, and she's going to go into more detail about everything I've discussed here so far.
In my 3 reports covering incident, investigate, and feasibility report, we will focus on explaining the Barnes & Noble problem, the underlying causes, and some suggestions about the solutions we need deemed feasible under company status. Barnes & Noble is one of America's largest publishers and booksellers, founded in 1886. The company peaked in 2006 with more than 600 locations across the United States. However, in 2018, although other players in the same segment reported growth averaging around 5%, Barnes & Noble reported a 6.9% loss from the previous quarter, or $17 million. The main reasons are the failure of the retail system and the increase in competition in its digital segment. We felt that the company was unable to compete with the new digital companies in the market. With their product as the e-reader, The company lost almost all its market share to Amazon for its Kindle product. Meanwhile, the company continues to fall into this quagmire, investing over $1 billion in research and manufacturing. In addition, physical location, which are the strengths of the company, were ignored. In particular, for its bookstore, its biggest problem was the business strategy based on the placement of areas. A large portion of the store space is used to display CDs and DVDs, even though the company's customers do not need them. In addition, other areas were misused. The area for Nook equipment, for example, contains only yoga mats and blankets in the children's toy backpack and school supplies area. Of most concern is that the central area should be used to display bestsellers and autographed copies. It only includes magazines, toys, candles, etc. Clearly, therefore, consumers have failed to find the unique features or services offered that suit their needs. So we assume that Barnes & Noble is out of its competitive range. Instead of using its unique features like space, the company did not compete in the right sector. Besides the wrong strategies, we also found that Barnes & Noble didn't have the right mentor. The company did not have a full-fledged CEO at the time to lead the company. The former CEO is Demos Paneros for violating the company's ethical standards. Paneros has been charged with abuse of authority and sexual harassment of female subordinates. Barnes & Noble decided to sue this CEO to court while cutting out his benefits during the working period as a punishment for misconduct. The company then resumed operating without a suitable replacement for the new CEO position. The future of Barnes & Noble gradually turned bleak. The company's long-term strategy is to beat its competitors by offering massive volumes of services that no longer offer an edge in the online retail era. When Amazon started selling all the books, the 120,000 books that Barnes & Noble owned was no longer a big advantage. What's more, the competitor also has a much lower cost structure since Amazon doesn't have to invest in real estate to store books. The size of the company, which was like their key differentiator, is now a big disadvantage. Certainly, if you compare the size and the cost of the digital products, there will be more long-term benefits than using paper books. Hence, we come up with some suggestions that the company can use for recovery. The most important factor most customers like Barnes & Noble is space. Barnes & Noble is the second largest meeting and entertainment venue in the United States after the chain of Starbucks coffee shops. From these physical stores, it's possible to build loyal customer communities such as neighborhood groups that need to use the space. One source for the company is also going to be generated. In addition, the company should also promote the association with Starbucks to develop the model of the bookstore combined with the coffee shop. This will be a suitable space for relaxation, work, or study of a large number of current and young customers. In particular, most important thing is that Barnes & Noble should let go of the loss-making and non-competitive Nook product line and hand it over to its partner to cut loss. Next, G's Nunges will continue to introduce the implementation of these strategies.
Hello, everyone. This is Jesse here, and today I'm going to be going over the progress report. As we know, Barnes & Nobles had previously attempted to dig themselves out of their financial struggles by competing in other related market industries, such as the ebook industry, e-commerce, and bookstore businesses. Most progress plans were not successful in altering Barnes & Noble's struggles. So we are going to go over some of the potential solutions that Barnes & Nobles can recuperate and get themselves out of their financial struggles. Providing sharing spaces with customers. The potential progress of this is that the outcome of this alternative will provide Barnes & Nobles a unique opportunity of offering matchless experiences to their consumers many other competitors can't offer due to their altered business models. Barnes & Nobles needs to change many of their bookstore structures to provide an enriched experience to their consumers to allocate them to choose Barnes & Nobles as their primary bookstore instead of other competing companies. This can enhance sales and provide a better preference for Barnes & Nobles than other competitors due to their services at their bookstores. Loyal customer communities. Many other companies have had similar membership programs that offer their loyal customers at a discount for any purchase at their stores. This alternative can provide a loyal customer base, but Barnes & Nobles will have to be much more competitive and offer a lot more services to be up par with other companies. The leading company with a solid customer base provides many benefits with their Prime memberships they can utilize, such as same-day and free one-day delivery, free streaming services, and discounts at Whole Food Marketplace, which we know is Amazon. Barnes & Nobles will need to offer services such as providing a lounge area to read book, offer special discounts to customers, and provide free services such as offering free coffee to their loyal customers to just give them that special and personalized feelings at their retail stores. Building a community, customer service will make the consumer feel a lot more memorable and connected to the company, elevating that emotional connection that many of us want and feel when we have that special feeling towards a company. Flexible method of operation. The potential progress of this is that if Barnes & Nobles ever needs to shut down their stores, they will have the ability to cut their losses due to that flexibility of cutting their contracts with the landlords. So this ability would give Barnes & Nobles more elasticity to take more risk. They can alter and shift their focus whenever it's needed. So now we're going to go over the Nook e-reader product that Barnes & Noble offers for their consumers for them to allocate and read their books on a specific device where they can just read it out of there and they can download as many books as they want. Separating this business or ending it overall will be the best decision Barnes & Noble can make to reduce their revenue losses. This industry is highly competitive and dominated by competitors by considerable margin, giving Nook a minimal chance of recuperating sales and attaining a large market share. It wouldn't be the most optimal to keep investing and pushing money towards this industry since it's been declining in sales over the past years. So the best decision that Barnes & Noble can do is to just cut their losses and just move on and shift their focus to other projects that can enhance and enrich their business. We are now going to go over the conclusion. So the overall arching problem that occurring with Barnes & Noble would be their lack of focus and dedication on their ongoing projects. Barnes & Nobles have been having multiple occurring problems within their internal business environment. This means that they haven't had a solid leader within their business. As we know, they've been changing CEOs over time. They've also haven't had a strategic and focused plan in terms of their retail stores, their e-commerce industry, and also in terms of their e-reader industry. Barnes & Noble needs to make a drastic change in their business models to dig themselves out of their financial struggles. By providing a unique service that no other competitors can replicate, they can produce their niche consumer base to keep them being a reoccurring consumer and choose Barnes & Noble over other competitors. So the overall main goal for us is for Barnes & Noble to attain their consumers and attain them to be reoccurring consumers for them to allocate profit and just keep growing as a business. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Have a great day. Thank you.